Hi, this is Courtney Mulvaney with the Career Development Center, and I'm here to teach you about the Focus2 assessment and how you can use your results to learn more about majors and careers that'll be a good fit for you. So first and foremost, once you log in, make sure you've already taken the assessment. If you haven't, go to go.ncsu.edu/focus2 and take the assessment now. Once you've taken the assessment, you can see we have the Career Planning Foundations area. This is great to go over with your career identity coach or career identity advocate. And then we have the self-assessment, which is what we're going to be focusing on mostly today. These different parts of the assessment are going to look at a variety of different things that make up what you're interested in, what matters the most to you, and this information can be combined to find a list of majors and careers that'll be a good fit for you. But first, let's look at how we can use some of these individual results, particularly the work interest assessment. So the work interest assessment is looking specifically at what type of tasks you would find interesting or rewarding at work. So go ahead and click the results now. When we do this, we get this neat little chart. And this chart is giving us something called our Holland Code. A Holland Code is based off of the Strong Interest Inventory, which is a very, very widely used and well-known career inventory that's been around for quite a while. The Focus2 takes that information and updates it a little bit, and then gives you a code based on how you answer. So the first thing you want to look at is just your general chart. How much of a difference is there between your different areas? Is one really high and the other's really low? Do you have any zeros? Any 100s? It's always good to look at this general information to get an idea of how strong your results are. As a rule of thumb, if your score in an area is above 50, that's a very highly defined and well-confident answer and particular area of interest for you. If it's 50 or below, that means it's a little bit weaker. So usually that'll mean either it's not something you're very interested in, or maybe you're just not quite confident yet in what your interests are. And either way, that's okay. It's just good information to know and to go over with someone who's trained to go over Focus2, like your coach. So for example, my code is AIC. So what that means for me is that I'm artistic, investigative, and conventional. Now I can scroll down to learn a little bit more about what that means for me, and even further to learn what my lower areas are. And just because an area is lower for you doesn't mean that you're not going to connect with some of these areas. It just means that it's not quite as well defined as some of the others. One way I like to think about this code is the first letter is what you want to do. The middle letter is where you want to do it. And the last letter is how you're going to do it. So as an example, what I want to do is create. So I like to create new ways of doing things, new programs, new ideas, and to be innovative. Where I want to do it is in investigative environments. So if you think of investigative, that's research, thinking, teaching, aka the university. And then that last letter is how I want to do it. So I like to organize ideas and to create products and to organize people. So what I want to do is to create new programs and ideas at the university by organizing information and organizing people to eventually help other people gain career fulfillment. So that's one way you can think about your code, is the what, the where, and the how that you'd like to do things. Once you've gone over your results, it's really useful, and one of the best features of Focus2 is this Combine Assessments button. So go ahead and click that. And when you do, make sure to include all 5 of those assessments, because that's going to give you the best data points to go off of. When you click the Continue button, it's going to give you a list of occupations, jobs, careers that are best fit based on how you answered these. Now, I want to give you a disclaimer before we go into anything, which is that Focus2 is not an end-all be-all. It is a computer program, so it only knows so much. So you're going to see results that you're like, well, I don't want to be an architecture professor, and that's okay. But it's just to get you thinking of some ideas that maybe are a good fit for you and to give you a starting point for your career research rather than giving you all the answers. So I like to keep all of these clicked, but let's say you know you don't want to go to graduate school. You can unclick advanced degree, and that's only going to show you things that you can get with a bachelor's or less. Similarly, you could get rid of the associate or 2-year degree, but I like leaving all of them just so I can see all of the possibilities based on my data. Don't panic if you don't see any answers in the 5 match of assessments or even the 4s. Usually you're going to start seeing matches around the 3s, and that's most common. But I do have some matches in the 4s, so let's expand that list. So matching 4 of my assessments would be newspaper writer, radio commentator, newscaster, and reporter. And when I look at these, and when you look at anything on Focus2, you're going to see the occupation. If there's a leaf right here, that means it's a green job. You may see a little sun here, and that means it's a bright outlook, which means that it is going to have a lot of job openings and growth. There are going to be some supporting majors from NC State, and when you click this little link, it's going to take you to the departmental or an information website for that major. The median salary for someone who is already in that career, not entry level, so you won't start at this most likely. The job family, and then it's going to show you which of your assessments it matched. So I can see that for newspaper writer, it matches my interests, my personality, my skills, and my leisure interests, but not my values. So I'd want to think about, if I'm interested in this and it doesn't match my values, what does that mean? Also a great thing to go over with a coach. Then I can keep going down into the smaller numbers. So this matches 3, and you'll start to see a little more variation here. Whereas this one matches values, personality, skills, this one matches work, interest, personality, and leisure. So you're going to see some differences. You also can save majors, which you'll see right here with that thumbprint. Let's say I'm interested in being a cardiologist. I can click this. There's the bright outlook symbol I talked about. And it's going to give me an overview of the occupation so I can find out what is this job actually. If I'm interested in this, I can save it right here, which is great. The job tasks, what I'd be doing on a daily basis. It's going to compare my work interest profile assessment results to the work interest profile for that particular job, so I can see how good of a match I am and what particular areas I might need to focus on to be successful. As an example, my realistic is only 12.5, and to be a cardiologist is a 72. Now, realistic is all about hands-on work and being able to see tangible results. So for me, that just means that I'm going to be willing to get my hands a little dirty, so to speak, if I decide to be a cardiologist. I'll need to keep that in mind. The different skills you'll use in this job, the values, the working conditions. This is important to pay attention to because a lot of times you might find like working inside. I'm fine with that, but if I saw working outside, I might not be okay with that. So this will help with looking at what you'd be dealing with. The educational requirements. How much school are you going to need for this? What majors are at NC State that might actually help me get there? You can take a look and do some research just like this. Other common areas of study. The outlook, so it's going to have higher growth, much faster actually. You can look at the average earnings, and you can even look by state. And then you can look at their professional associations, which can be really great sources of information when you're finding out more about that particular career path. As I mentioned, if you read through this and find out, okay, maybe I do want to be a cardiologist, you can click Save this occupation. It's going to ask you, why do you like it? What are your favorite things? And then to give it a thumb rating. And then once you save it, you'll be able to find it easily later on. This combined assessments feature really is one of the powerhouses of Focus2, and it's going to be one of the keystones in helping you to create a list of occupations that you want to look more into and to research a little bit more to hopefully get you started on that decision-making process. The other part of Focus2 that can be really useful for doing this research about your career is exploring the possibilities. Maybe you've gone through the combined assessments and you're happy with it, but you really just want to know, what can I do with a major in blank that I got at NC State? Because, maybe you love your major, but you just don't know what you can do with it. So if you click this, you can find the majors that we have at NC State, which is great. You can also see concentrations, and once again, those links will take you to the departmental websites. So let's say I want to know what I can do with a degree in business administration and management. Let's look at that. So when you click that, it's going to give you, once again, information about NC State's programs, our concentrations, and then a list of different occupations that are commonly associated with that particular major. Now, none of these are exhaustive lists. There's so many different things you can do with really any major, and those are what we call transferable skills. So you'll be able to do a lot. But this can once again get you started and get you thinking about ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of. I know when I came to NC State, I thought you could be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a teacher, pretty much, because I grew up as a first-gen college student. So if I would have seen this list and been like, what's an estimator? What's an employee benefits analyst? I didn't even know that those were jobs that were existing or available to me. So this can help you get those wheels turning, and once again, give you an easier way to do some research on them at the beginning of things. So this type of tool, Focus2, is a career assessment. And when you take it, you can use it to research different jobs and careers and majors that could be a good fit for you. And that's what you're here to do in career identity, is to learn about yourself, look at different careers that you can potentially go for, and to start making a plan for that. So the first step to all of that is learning about yourself and looking at what's out there. So go ahead and do some research, do the reflection activity, and make a list of different careers. And then you can start looking at the different things that will help you decide, is this a viable career option for me, or do I need to recalculate and do a little more research? Good luck on your research.